And to help us understand the risk and rewards of investing during the pandemic, we're joined by Kian Soon, CEO and Fund Manager with Astral Asset Management. Of course, Kian Soon speaking to us this morning from Singapore. Very good morning to you, Kian Soon. So we are seeing that the stock market remains volatile as ever. So is it a good idea for investors to make an investment during the pandemic?
I think there will be an interest in stock investing during the last whole year, as we could see that the stocks equities index have rallied very strongly, and also there's a couple of other trends. Firstly, investments in cash and bonds typically yield close to 0% returns, as well as we have seen that the prices of gold, commodities, and other assets like the real estates have also rallied very high. So there's a renewed interest definitely in stock investing. But if you look at picking good stocks and achieving a sizable return over the long term, my advice would be literally to look at stocks investing in a longer term horizon, because now the current COVID situation has a lot of uncertainties. Investors who are willing to look at dollar cost averaging, as well as having a longer investment horizon perspective, will ultimately claim rewards that they are seeking. And at this stage, it's no longer just a rising tide situation where investments in certain equity indexes is going to yield abundance rewards. At this stage, it's important to diversify, as the recovery is happening at various sectors and in various geographies. So it's important to diversify and look at it from a broader horizon. For this year, for investors to have ample rewards, I think it's important for stock selections as well as sector selections.
Since you mentioned about stock selections, and the market really hates uncertainties. So amid those uncertainties, what are the sectors that investors should be looking into during this pandemic?
I think during this pandemic, there are a few key trends that we observe that is useful and I think for me to share. Firstly, if you look at from a geography perspective, we prefer that geographies or countries that could manage the crisis well. Countries that have managed to keep their economy open during this period tends to help the business to continue operating. And therefore, this business will do well and continue to deliver sizable earnings. I think secondly, in terms of sectors, there will be key sectors that benefits from the pandemic, and they are more linked towards the medical device sectors that was in huge demand. And at the same time, we avoided sectors that were badly affected by the pandemic, for instance, hospitality, tourism, and aviation. But currently, we are also at a stage when we are on a path of recovery as more and more nations have got themselves vaccinated and the economy is coming back. So take a look at the sectors that will come back and benefit from the recovery as well.
So besides looking into equities markets, what are some of other ways of investing or preserving your money during this pandemic?
I think in terms of other forms of investments, apart from the equities market, a lot of investors has actually looked at ETFs, they have looked at funds and other asset classes that, basically they could diversify. There are also investors that look at more the traditional commodities investments. And what I understood is currently there are also investors that have actually start to invest in the digital currencies as well. So there's a wide portfolio of asset classes for investors to pick from. But rather, I would caution that it's more important to invest in things that you know rather than things that you don't. So for investors, generally, it's also okay to stick to a few key asset classes that you're very familiar and could deliver good investment returns, rather than spreading yourself too thin, thinking that is diversification.
Quite valuable tips over there. Thank you so much, Kian Soon, as always, for your tips over there. And Kian Soon, CEO and Fund Manager with Astral Asset Management. All right, those are your business updates for this hour. April Teresa, back to you.